What we can do is what we have done. We have raised the alarm. We have made people to know that there is a moral question there when you have a minister in the opposition party and who has come out to say very belligerently that he is his cousin and there's nothing we can do about it and there is nobody that can intimidate him. We don't know what has created the supposition for intimidation, except that it is a very typical of what has been happening in Edo State, which made us raise the alarm in the first place. We'd expect that anybody who is related to the opposition and who has the potential for screwing the election towards the opposition, that as a moral body, that person should not be seen participating as an umpire in an election in which he has interest by proxy. So we have raised that alarm. We have informed Nigerians, we have informed the authority, we have put forth the demand that one should be redeployed, if only to raise the mind of our voters that the system will be transparent, fair, and free. Why is it difficult to do so? I remember when Buhari appointed somebody who was supposed to be related to him as a rec. There was so much pressure that the person was changed. So I don't see why it is difficult to change the rec if there are no other interests, whether it's of ego, whether it's of pushing the so-called federal might, or whether it is having a clandestine desire to do something against the election. We don't have any reason. Okay. We haven't done anything. As I said, we have only raised the issue, raised the question. We are leaving it to INEC management to take the decision. It does not deter us from preparing for Saturday. We are prepared for Saturday and we are going into the election, irrespective of who is put there to man the post. What we are going to do is to ensure that whatever is the process or activity, we ensure that it's by the books, and we defend our votes and ensure that the election that is going to be conducted is free and fair, and is the election that will be declared in the results that will be declared later. Well, the implications it will have, it has started to have. It had tried to create a kind of fear-mongering atmosphere in Edo State. We shut that down because we know how dangerous it is to create that kind of tension and situation before an election, especially in a volatile state like Edo State. We don't understand why those who are outside Edo State are so interested in the 2024 election. Edo people are quite capable of conducting their affairs. And we are quite capable of electing people to public offices. We don't think, and we didn't think, that we needed some kind of, unsolicited umpires and teachers and interest group from the outside. So what we are trying to do is to encourage our voters not to be bothered by busybodies, but to be focused on Saturday and to ensure that we stand to defend franchise, democracy, and get a free and fair election where our votes will count. It is not about Edo State and about PDP. It is the sustenance of democracy even though we call our democracy, or we say our democracy has come a bit of age, we are just 20-something years old. You can't compare it to the 300 and something years old democracy. So we still need, all of us as Nigerians, to ensure that this democracy is protected. At every point you have an off-cycle election like this, everybody should ensure that what goes on there is democratic, and that what comes out of it is democracy. And that's why our national chairman, acting national chairman, Damango, said, Edo's election is democracy on trial. It's going to prove whether our democracy has actually come of age and has matured. Yeah, so that's the point I was making. Language is spoken with context of situations. I mean, we don't just use words, except there are context situations. So every word spoken and every sentence made should be entirely within context. I don't think that anybody in Edo, campaigning against opposition parties in Edo, would have any reason to make such statements. For instance, Wike, who is not campaigning in Edo, saying that the man is his cousin and nobody can intimidate him. I don't see why Wike should be making statement. Wike has no relationship with Edo whatsoever. So, but context has created certain things to be said. What is important is how do Edo people understand what was said within the context of situation. In Edo State here, we understand ourselves. Our language is kind of peculiar. And so that is why you find that just few days to the election, Edo is still very peaceful. And we are still telling Edo people to stay the course, come out on Saturday and vote en masse. Because what we have here is democracy on trial. They have made a choice, yeah? Yeah.
They're on break. Pushing this back.
Why is it's echoing back to me? Everything I said echoes back to me.
He's asking.
Echo.
Okay, it's coming.
To be.
Everything I said repeated back. Don't worry, I'm used to it. If you could repeat the question, please. I hear you in the initial points. Before the peace accord team, led by the former respected head of state, came to Edo State, we made and we've cried ourselves, out that the PDP in Edo State is being hunted by the Nigerian police. As at the time he came, we already had persons who had been arrested unlawfully because nobody has told us up till now why they were arrested, and they were all PDP members. And to make matters worse, they've all been spirited off to Abuja. Even if they had committed a crime, we expect that they would be in the area of jurisdiction where the crime was committed. Now, incidentally, the team came when one of them, that is a principal officer, being the chairman of the local government of Esan Central, was arrested too after he had gone to report that he was molested, beaten, and bandaged. he was detained, arrested, and spirited to Abuja after the governor had intervened, spoken with the police commissioner, and the police commissioner had said he will get back to him. The next thing the governor heard was that he had been taken to Abuja. We also had in possession a list of a number of persons, numbering over 60, that were to be arrested. All started from July 18th, when they had shot at the courts, captured in cameras, captured by national newspapers, This Day, Vanguard, and the others. Their faces were displayed of those who are the lions and tigers disturbing the peace of Edo State, shooting guns sporadically, which unfortunately, the candidate of the APC's ADC, or one of his aides, who unfortunately died, Mr. Inspector Akko, has raised all of these issues, and none of the issues have been resolved. So by the time they came to sign a peace accord, we thought it would be the height of hypocrisy to be signing a peace accord in the midst of anarchy, when law and order has broken down in the states and anarchy is almost taking over. So we needed to raise that awareness before words, bring it to the IGs, because when the IG was responding, he denied most of the incidents. That is, he denied having any notice or information. In fact, he told us that when he was here was when he asked the police commissioner and he confirmed some of these incidents. So the governor needed to do that so that the IG will be aware, the president will be aware, that some members of the APC in Edo State, hiding under the clout of federal might and hiding under the clout of the presidency, have got themselves an arm of the police, and we got the names of the police, we published their pictures, and are using them to intimidate APC members. So we needed commitment that, okay, I am saying that my party has demonstrated by not signing that we want peace more than anybody. Peace is not something that is abstract. If you are arresting people, handing them, taking them to Abuja, and then police is seen to be complicit in all of this, and you call that peace, then what would you call anarchy? So we are trying to say, let's get peace. Let all the people, stakeholders interested in peace, stakeholders involved in keeping peace, come and give assurance to Nigeria that there will be peace. And after they have done that, we will sign. Those people in Abuja now, have you found out as a television station whether they have been tried? They need to be brought back home and tried for offenses. We have not been told what offenses they've committed, they've not been released. We showed their families on TV, some have little children, wives, all crying, they've not seen their families, they've not seen their father, they've not seen their cousins, they have not seen their brothers. So to sign is to append our confirmation, or I'm thinking of the word to use now, that is to give credence to that state of affair is peaceful. That state of affair is not peaceful, and we do not give credence to it. So we want assurance of peace, and then we will sign. Okay. Yes, it is a conditional boycott. It is when you have a condition or a precondition. The moment you meet the condition, then the action follows. So I would rather that you give consideration to the conditions or the preconditions for signing more than the effect. For every effect and for every, there's a causal factor. We have explained the causal factor. You know it is escapist for anybody not to deal with causal factors and begin to deal with their effects. So we want the causal factor for the sake of democracy, for the sake of Nigeria's democracy, to give assurance to Edo voters that Saturday will be peaceful, and then everybody will come and heighten our young democracy and further it and entrench it. That's what we are. We're actually crusaders for peace and for democracy. As a spokesperson for Asue, ighodalo, it's just this morning that I was able to get a t-shirt from my political party, our PDP campaign t-shirts. So I would have been very glad to get a wrapper, just as you have accused. Yaga Africa is a non-governmental organization. I don't think they would be so dumb as to finger PDP and say PDP is distributing anything to induce people. Everybody knows Governor Obaseki is the most financially prudent governor in Nigeria. He has used legal processes to prosecute all the impediments he had met in his political race. Asue ighodalo is one of the most respected bastions in the corporate industry. And if you ask everybody, they will tell you one uniform testimony about him. It's integrity. We are maintaining integrity. We have no room to induce because we are 80% ahead of everybody. All the polls that have been conducted, whether by private organizations, newspaper, journalists, and so on and so forth, we are miles and distance ahead of anybody. So it is our election to lose. Therefore, we have no reason to induce. If you heard that, it is parties that are coming behind that should be inducing. For instance, the APC that have a wobbled and cobbled up candidate. They want to induce people not to take notes of his shortcomings. Are you going to be inducing people to believe that Asue ighodalo is a University of Ibadan graduate of economics and an LSE graduate? Are you going to induce people to say that? The man who retired from 8 boards, resigned from 8 boards to come and contribute his quota to the development of Edo State. Are you going to induce people to believe that? His profile is in the public square. The popularity of PDP, I mean, if you ask your people who cover the different campaign grounds in the wards, every time Asue climbs down from the rostrum, you have people decamping into the PDP from other parties, especially the APC. We have depleted the APC so much and depleted other parties so much. So we have no reason to be inducing. Yeah. They have no political value. Yeah, thank you.